Welcome back. I'm James Zogby, and you're watching Viewpoint. Next guest is Dr. Amal Mudallali. She's Foreign Policy Advisor to Lebanon's MP Saad Hariri, head of the Future Parliamentary Bloc. Dr. Mudallali was Foreign Media Advisor to Prime Minister Rafiq Hariri from 1998 to 2000 and served as Foreign Affairs Advisor from 2000 until his assassination in 2005. You also were the recipient, I understand, of the Legion of Honor recently in France.
I was lucky and honored to receive that, yes, from the French president.
Well, thanks for joining us, Amal. Listen, these are dark days in Lebanon.
Yeah.
And you've been through a lot. You yourself have been through a lot. I remember talking to you the day after Prime Minister died. And did you ever think that it would go on so long and take so many lives?
Actually, after Mr. Hariri died, it was a nightmare, as everybody knows. But we thought that the nightmare is over, especially when 1 million people went down in the streets in Lebanon and they called for Lebanon to be free and for democracy in Lebanon to be re-established. And there was a great time in Lebanon where for the first time, I was so proud to be Lebanese. I connected to every single young woman and man from these people who were in the streets in Beirut, especially downtown Beirut. We didn't know that this was the beginning of the nightmare, which is still going on now for 2 years. We're losing people every couple of months. We're losing one of our leaders. We're losing people in other battles. And the biggest tragedy also for Lebanon, which is nobody talks about, is not only these people who are losing in car explosions and these kinds of things. Most of young Lebanese are leaving Lebanon because
I saw
people
a poll
see
recently, actually, that a partner of ours in Lebanon did, showed huge numbers. More than 30% of Lebanese want to leave. And the numbers among young are even higher. Yes,
people feel there's no hope, unfortunately, because of this campaign against Lebanon. It's a campaign from within and a campaign from outside. We've been hammered by two campaigns. A campaign inside Lebanon by an opposition that we respect and we want to be partners in the country to build the country together. But unfortunately, their way of doing things and their way of trying to reach political goals, it's not working for Lebanon, not working for them or for us.
One of the things about the serial assassinations that causes concern is where you have an isolated assassination, a country can almost deal with that. But where there are these targeted assassinations, repeated assassination over a series, over a period of time, it is a genuine threat to the very vitality of the democracy itself. Will there be a time when a total collapse occurs, when people are afraid to speak out because no one knows who next will be the target?
I think this is basically on the mind of these people who are doing this because they feel the Lebanese will give up and the Lebanese will say, you know, that's it, we'll accept whatever people are going to impose on us. But I think the Lebanese reached a point where they're saying enough is enough. They're not going to give in. They're not going to accept that they will go back to time when they did not have their decisions taken by them and by their leaders. They're not going to accept to go back to days where Lebanon had no real voice, had no voice to say in the world. Lebanon now is free, and the government in Lebanon now was doing a very good job in trying to put back the blocks together in the political field, in the economy, on the social level. We're trying to build the country again. But unfortunately, how can you do this when you look at what we have now, what the government has to deal with now. We have to deal with these assassinations, this threat, this is a sword on every politician's head, elected or not elected. Then you have now the problem that they created for us in the camps in the north. So you have that campaign also in the north that with the Fath al-Islam and then you have that they call it demonstration, sit-in. Some people calling it occupation of downtown Beirut. That's paralyzing the country, paralyzing the economy, and basically ended the tourist season. And this is what Lebanon lives on. So you have these three campaigns. What government in the world can put up with all of this and be able to stand on its feet?
I have two questions that come, and I want to ask them in series. The first is in polling that we've done. It's very interesting. I call it red state, blue state writ large. I mean, it is probably the most divided polity I've ever seen, with one half of the country thinking one way and the other thinking another way around some questions. Around other questions, there's tremendous unity. But it appears almost that the agendas focus on the division and not on the points that bring people together. People do want a new national accord. People do want a different way of electing the president. People do want a more representative system that whether Sunni, Shia, Maronite, Orthodox, want to see the Shia more empowered in the country, on the one side. On the other side, everyone wants the economy to be the focus of attention, etc. But people instead focus on other issues. What can be done to create this refocusing? Because clearly all of the problems that currently exist, while outside forces have a role, there are, correctly as you note, inside problems as well. This paralysis of the center of the city that your former boss used to call it the heart of the city, and he wanted to rebuild the heart first so that as he put it to me one time, so that the heart would beat and pump blood to the rest of the country. It's gone. How do you get people to refocus? How do you get the government to refocus on the things that bring people together in the country?
You know, people can start with where we were left off last week when the Security Council approved the International Tribunal for Mr. Hariri's killing and the other crimes since then. Mr. Saad Hariri came out on television and he put his hand out and he said, my hand is extended. I want dialogue. I want to sit down with our partners in the country and solve the problems. Whatever political problems we'll solve. You want a unity government, we'll talk about it. We'll have a unity government, but we have to talk. We have to have a dialogue. Till today, they have not answered him. Actually, indirectly, we got negative answers. Somebody has to sit down and in a round table, in any format. There was a proposition to go to France, to put them in France and talk wherever they want. We have to sit down and talk.
Because that was the next question. The new French president has launched an initiative, is inviting the various parties, and he's been inviting many of the opposition. General Aoun has been there a number of times, etc. Is there a chance that that the French can bring this together? Some suggest the U.S. is not totally supportive of the effort, but are the parties in Lebanon supporting this French initiative?
Of course, we supported it. The French envoy came and he met with everybody, with Mr. Hariri, and he welcomed the initiative. We said we'll participate, and everybody in the country is willing to participate. I don't know if you know that this is not going to be on the leaders level. It's going to be second-tier leadership and NGOs and civil society and stuff like that. Because the French's idea is to start talking again, to start talking on all the issues, on any issues, but just to start the process of talking, because people are not talking to each other. And we are for that. But the problem is between now and the end of the month, when you're going to sit down and talk, if this is going to take place in France, what do? Now you have a new assassination. You would think that now the country will come together, and this will be an incentive for people to say, look, we cannot really delay our issues anymore. We have to sit down and talk about them, because whoever is doing this is exploiting the divisions between Lebanese, among the Lebanese. We have to sit down together and talk and solve this problem. You would think they will say, let's lift this blockade from downtown Beirut. Let's let Beirut breathe again. Let's have some confidence-building measure between us. One of us will show the other that we really, as Hariri showed, that he really wants to talk. We are willing for everything, because for us the International Tribunal was so important. We said, now we have the tribunal, we're willing to compromise and give anything the others want just to bring the country back together. We need an answer. We need a partner.
Let's get you out there into the conversation. If you want to call us from overseas, the number is 001-202-842-5056. If you're calling from here in the U.S., it's 1-800-5